Today we're going to be reading Becoming Anything He Wants to Be. Boys and girls, this story's genre is a biography, and biography basically means that it is a story about someone's life, a true story about someone's life, written by someone else. Becoming anything he wants to be. Imagine cold, so cold that bare skin freezes almost instantly. Imagine wind so strong that it could blow you over and deep icy cracks you might fall into at any moment. Now picture a group of mountain climbers making their way through this environment to the highest spot in the world. One of the climbers is Eric Weihenmayer. On May 25th, 2001, Eric did make it to the top of Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth. But Eric could not see the view from the top. He could not even see the snow and ice all around him. He could only feel them because he is blind. Eric is the only blind person ever to reach the top of the world. A hard beginning. Eric was born with a rare eye disease. He could never see very well. By the time he was 13, the disease had made him blind. People often think of all the things a blind person can't do because he or she can't see. Eric's father encouraged Eric to think about all the things he could do. Eric learned that lesson well. It wasn't always easy. At first, Eric was angry when he lost his sight. He refused to learn Braille, a writing and reading system for blind people. He failed math his first year in high school because he could not read the Braille textbook. Then Eric started wrestling. It was a sport where his blindness did not slow him. He learned Braille and his grades improved. He became the captain of the wrestling team. One year, he won second place in the state wrestling championship. And the caption reads, on May 25th, 2001, Eric became the first blind person to climb to the top of Mount Everest. The thrill of the climb. When he was 16, Eric went rock climbing for the first time. The experience changed his life. He loved the feel of the wind and the rock under his hands. Different rocks had different textures. This thrilled him and made him want to climb more and more. Yet Eric did not want to follow other climbers. Blind people had climbed their way for a long time. Eric wanted to lead. He wanted to find the toe holds and places for his hands to touch. One night, he proved he could lead. He was climbing with a partner, and they finished after dark. The partner had forgotten his helmet light. He could not see to climb down. But Eric could see with his hands. He led the climb back down to safety. So boys and girls, from this page, how do we know that Eric will be a leader at climbing? What evidence does the author provide? Well, the author tells us that Eric was on a climb one night when his partner forgot his light. So Eric was able to lead his partner back down safely. And here we see a map, and it says the 7 summits are the highest mountains on the 7 continents. Every mountain climber dreams of climbing them all. Very few achieve this dream. Climbing the 7 summits. Soon, Eric began climbing mountains. He discovered he could use long poles to lean on and help him feel the ground. He could also use his hearing to sense when a cliff was in front of him or when the ground dropped off. Sometimes climbers in front of him wore bells or tapped their ice axes against rocks to help direct him. In 1995, Eric climbed to the top of Denali Peak, Mount McKinley in Alaska. The TV news reported it. A blind man had climbed the tallest mountain in North America. It was the first of the 7 summits that Eric went on to climb. These mountains are the highest on each of the 7 continents. Over the next 7 years, Eric climbed them all. So let's think about what details does the author give to help you understand how Eric climbs mountains. Well, the author tells us that he uses long poles to lean on, his sense of hearing, and sometimes the help of other climbers who wears bells or tap their axes. And another question, when did Eric first become famous and why? When we go back into our text, it says in 1995, Eric climbed to the top of Denali Peak. It also tells us that the news reported it. And here it says, Eric says he loves the beauty of mountain climbing, the movement, and the teamwork. And here is a page with pictures. The first, Eric wants other people to think about what they can do and not what they cannot do, just as he has done. And they told us that his father taught him that. A great athlete, Eric competes in tandem bicycle races. Tandem bikes are for 2 riders. Let's move on. Not just a world-class climber. Eric didn't stop at mountain climbing. At one time, he was a teacher and a wrestling coach. He is also a skydiver. He runs marathon races. He skis. He scuba dives. He does long-distance bike rides. You could never tell Eric that blindness is a handicap. Now, Eric speaks and teaches all around the world. He has written 2 books. The message in each is that hardships can make us stronger and better people. One of his books is called Touch the Top of the World. The story was made into a movie. Eric also made a movie called Further Than the Eye Can See. It is an adventure film about climbing Mount Everest. Eric used the movie to raise more than $500,000 for charity. He used his success to help form a group called No Barriers. The group finds ways to help people with disabilities overcome the barriers in their lives. Today, Eric is trying to help blind people learn to read and write. He wants everyone who cannot see to learn Braille. He speaks all over the world to help make this happen. Eric was once asked if he believes everything is possible. He answered that there are limits. For example, he cannot drive a car. But he added, there are good questions and bad questions in life. The bad questions are what if questions. What if I were smarter or stronger? What if I could see? Those are dead-end questions. A good question is, how do I do as much as I can with what I have? Okay, so that is the end of today's story. And a question that we can ask is, what evidence in the text lets you know that Eric believes in helping others? Well, the author tells us that he gave the money from his movie to charity. The author also says he started a group to help people with disabilities, and he's helping blind people learn to read. So we can see here, boys and girls, that Eric is the kind of person that loves to give back. Well, that is it for today's story. Take care, and I hope to see you all soon.